Well, hi guys, Jake here with you for part 8 of our client Steve Ferrone's 350 TOS build-up. Before I get into anything, I just want to say sorry about the noise, guys, in the background. That's my little space heater. It is around 28 degrees here or so, well below 30 right now degrees, so it is really cold out in the shop, so I do apologize about the background noise on that. But just want to take a little bit of time to say, apologize for the little, the long hiatus here. I had to go, do a couple of medical procedures, and I was down with a stomach bug for a while, but we got all that back up and going again, and I've been trying to get, from part 7 to now, getting his ship finished, and I finally got it through, minus a couple of little decals that I still need to put on, but for the most part it's done now. But and we went through and used the Polar Light Round 2 weathering decals on this. It turned out okay. Now guys, I want to make mention to this. With these decals, I will pretty much never use these again, unless it is for the original release the original release saucer that has the grid lines in the saucer. These decals, they do not line up on this on the smooth saucers, no matter how much you try to cut and trim and all that kind of stuff up. You're going to see the grid lines in them. The individual pie wedge. They're not made for the smooth saucer. And so I cleaned them up, trimmed them up as best as I could. The first set that came with the kit, those were messed up and had problems with them, and so I had to go back through like the next day and order another set from round 2, and it took a couple of weeks to get there. So that's one of the reasons why it took so long for me to get another video in. But we got them all down now, got them looking as best as I could, and they look very good. You can still see the grid lines in it, but like I said, these decals are not made for this smooth saucer. I know a lot of guys out there like doing their own weathering and stuff like that, and so that's what I'm going to try to work on next with my skill level, is trying to get up there with everybody else and doing the weathering and stuff. So but I got some of it down, and got some of the gaps filled in where it was where you could see some of the gaps in between the decals and whatnot, and got those squared away. So but we'll take you over here to the bench in just a second and kind of walk you through all that, guys. So, but I just want to take a little bit of time to say thank you to everybody. We're nearing 10,000 views on the channel, and that's, keep them coming, guys. I hope I can, that lets me know that I'm helping everybody, on certain projects and stuff like that. So, and we're up to 233 viewers now, subscribers. So, but anyway, I'm going to be, after this video series is done with this one, I'm going to be starting on the video series for the tribute build for TrekWorks from Chuck Brooks from Gearhead Workshop. And I'm thinking about switching models, going from the Excelsior to the 1/650 scale TOS by Revell. I got that in finally, and so I'm still tinkering around with the idea on that one. So, but I may just stick with the Excelsior. We don't know. I don't know yet, so we'll see. But anyway, let me take you down to the swing you over to the bench here, and we'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Okay guys, here we are, we're back, and you can see what we have in front of us now is a completed 350 TOS. I've gone through and done, I don't know if you're going to be able to see everything plain and clear or not, but my light switch for the overhead light in the shop is on the outside, so I had to go out there and turn that off real quick and then come back in. But we have all the decals put on now, except for those two that go right here on the back side of the BC deck. Like I said, guys, these weathering decals were not made for the smooth saucer. I'm sorry, round 2, but I will never use these again. They're too they're too problematic for the smooth saucer. Now if I get a hold of one that has to do, you know, with the has the grid lines on there, the first release, then I'll, you know, I'll wouldn't mind using these again, because they'll work real well for that. But I had to go through here, and the first set that I put down, I started putting on. I got these 4 right here done, and I noticed that they started cracking and doubling over here, and I didn't realize that until the next morning. I started finding out where I started feeling something weird on my hands, and I realized that it was film from this. So I ended up having, and I had a real nice painted on insignia here, and I had to go back through and pretty much sand everything smooth. I couldn't get the decals off. I tried alcohol, I tried the Solvacet, I tried even went as far as trying a little bit of tequila, and it just wouldn't come off. These things, you know, once they're there, they're on, they're not coming off. So what I ended up having to do is I just ended up having to take some 400 grit sandpaper and wet sanding them down real good, sanding the edges off, making sure everything was smooth, sanding and spraying all these off, getting all that, sanded off. And I went on ahead and sanded everything else, the paint and everything, and went back through with some 800 grit and did the same thing, and then some 600, then 800 grit, and then some 1200 and up into 1500 to get it all smooth. Then I reprimed, just did a little light coat of primer on here, and then just repainted the top saucer, and it came out real well. So now we got it down, and it, you can't see anything. You can still see a little bit of the grid lines here, but like I said, that's nothing that I did. It's just because these decals are made solely for that grid line saucer. So, but got everything pretty much done. I don't have this set down on there yet. I'm going to have to do a little bit of cutting around this top edge to get this dome set down here on, where it'll sit nice and neat down here. But we have that on there. Let me zoom in to see if you can see it any better. Let me get you zoomed in on it. See if you can look down inside there. Let's see if it'll will focus on me there. And I'll turn the overhead light off. Maybe you can see down inside there. But yeah, you can see real good down inside there. And I'll take the camera off a tripod here toward the end and just kind of do a walkthrough on it. So, but everything lit up real nice and pretty, and got all the light leaks fixed, and going from there. So as you can see now, let me back out a little bit here and get you into the Bassard domes, and I'll turn the lights off again for you on that one to where you can see, and you can see they're glowing really nice and pretty. Now you notice that the fans aren't, the fan blades aren't going. I made mention to you a long time ago that I'm going to be using a speed control switch for this, and I got that in, and I've got it wired up. So let me turn my power supply on, and go, and let me turn my light back on. Let me show you over here what it looks like. If I can, I'll zoom you, focus you in over here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not, but let me move the ship out of the way a little bit. Got this off of eBay, I believe, and it's very simple to use. Basically, you have your main power in on these two, and then here's your motor supply out, and then here's your knob that will you can adjust it. So I've got that hooked up, and I've got my power set at 12 volts, and let me show you what it does. Let me move you back up over to the Bassard collectors and show you what's going on there, and show you that. Let me get those back into focus. Let me move my light out of the way here. Let me back out just a little bit more. Alright, let me turn my light off. And what I'm going to do is you'll hear the first little click on the switch, and you'll see they'll slowly start moving. So you can get them going. That's that's as low as they'll go right there. And of course you don't want to turn them up too fast because they're going to go up pretty high. So I mean they're going to go up pretty high, and you don't think you're going to want that to happen. So I'm going to set it to where on the box, you know, on the display base, the high and the low for it. So, but I'm going to make it to where it'll only go up about that far. You know, suggest where it won't go up any further than that, and then where it can go down, because right there these motors are pretty quiet, and you don't want them to go any faster than that, guys, because that's about the way they were. That's about the way they go on the Smithsonian, maybe just a little bit slower on the Smithsonian, and they run very, very quiet right there at that speed. So, but you know, it's turned out real nice. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the box painted today because, like I said, we had a cold front come through, and you know, by the time that I got ready to paint the box, it was started, you know, it was below 30, so I had to quit painting for the day. So let me turn my light back on. But anyway, that's what's, you know, those are on, you know, and everything else like that. So those are real nice. I like those. Let me turn my power off and get it set over here where I can take the camera off the tripod and walk you around a little bit. So let me zoom back out again. Alright guys, sorry for the bumpy ride here. Give me just 1 second. Alright. It zoomed in on me, guys. I'm sorry. Alright, there we go. So let me turn the light off here, and I'll show you down inside the bridge. So you see that light up, you know, that lit up really nice and neat. I'm, you know, very pleased with how that turned out rather. And we got all the windows coming through really nice and pretty. Got that lower sensor dome on there. I still got to put that little phaser on there, but you know, other than that, that's all I got left to do here on that. And we got all the you know, the inside fixed. And I was going to tell you too, guys, with this ship, I had, let me turn my light back on. With this this light right here, the LED went out on me, and so what happened was while I was sanding the saucer to get that front fixed, the neck came loose, and I ended up having to you know, I pulled it off anyway. That gave me the chance to use some epoxy and, you know, epoxy it down in here to where it'll stay. So now it's not going, you know, none of these joints are going anywhere. But while I had it off, I went on ahead. This LED, little piece of LED strip tape went out on me, and so I ended up just wiring, you know, running a couple of pieces of magnet wire up through there, and wired it into the excuse me, the main control board, and then I wired in a little strip of warm white LED strip tape, and, you know, pulled it through, and then but I had to break this open, this top seam open, to where I could get my strip tape, and I went on ahead and replaced these. They didn't paint, the paint didn't turn out right. And I started looking at that kit with the lighting kit, and it comes with extra little pieces there to help with, you know, for all this kind of stuff like that. And so I replaced those, and I replaced this, and got this all done now. So it all works, you know, it's all sealed up and light blocked and everything. Got all that light blocked and ready to go. So I just got to put, I forgot, I just got to put a couple of figures down inside there. I'm going to put you know, McCoy and Kirk down in there, to maybe even a red shirt to get those, you know, for the shuttle bay, that to give it a little bit of life. But it's done, guys. I mean, for the most part, I did a little bit of weathering on, you know, the back sides here, around these manifold intakes and stuff like that. So for the most part, those decals, you know, they didn't set down too well. You know, on these I had to move a couple of them, replace a couple of them, because they're just, that first set was so brittle. But we got these going, you know, got them on there and everything else like that. So, but everything's done now, guys, minus that, you know, like I said, minus that little these two little decals right here. But anyway, if you obviously, I'll show you the light over there if I can. There's the base for it. I got some of the red down there on it, and but it is still too cold. It's still way too tacky for me to paint tonight, so I'm not going to be able to do anything else with it until tomorrow. But before I ship this thing out, we'll go back through and do one more final video on it, and you know, with the display case marked, and we're going to erupt around this little area, around the edge. We're going to be painting a yellow stripe to kind of match you know, the red and yellow here. So looking forward to seeing that done and getting this thing shipped off. So guys, I'm glad to see this thing finally getting done and ready to, you know, getting ready to go. I hope, Steve, I hope you like this, man. Sorry it took so long. The decal set me back a couple weeks on this, or else it would have been done already. So, but alright guys, we're going to call this one a wrap for the night, and I'm gonna let this thing run for quite a while, and let this thing do what we call a, you know, a burn test to see if anything else happens before we ship it out. And if all goes well, we'll ship it out within the next week. So until then, guys, take care, stay safe, stay warm, and happy modeling, everybody.